Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking all about my favorite pens and planner supplies. This is something I'm asked about quite frequently, and it's been a while since I last did one of these, so let's just jump right in. Some of these pens I use every single day, and some have pretty specific purposes for me, but I wanted to give a few options. One thing to note is this is just what I use based on my personal preferences, but there's so many amazing pens out there that might suit you and your style better. I'm going to break this down into two different categories, the first being brush pens. The first pen that I want to talk about is a longtime favorite and one I've talked about many times. It's the Tombow Fudonoseki brush pen, specifically in the hard nib. It comes in a pack of 10 different colors or individually. I use the black one the most, and anytime you see lettering in my planner, it's most likely this pen. It's smooth and easy to use once you know the basics of lettering. I typically buy the black pen in bulk, so I always have one on hand. I use this for titles on the weekly spread, my checklists, and trackers. It's definitely one of my most used supplies and one I have recommended for many years. If you're new to lettering or want to start learning, I think it's great for beginners, but I've been lettering for years and it's still the one I always come back to. It's not as inky as some of the other brush pens, so it dries pretty quickly and it can tolerate some colors and highlighting. There isn't a huge color selection. There is the 10 pack and there is also a pastel set, but I mostly use the black anyways. The next brush pen we're going to talk about is the Pentel Sign Pen. This is a beautiful brush pen, so many colors available, and it's really smooth to write with. This pen is a little bit more inky than the Tombow pen, so it does require some time to dry, and I don't recommend using it with highlighters. I would also say if you tend to use heavy pressure, this one may have some bleed through, but I personally haven't experienced any. I like to use these for the colors mostly since there are so many available and they're just so vibrant. One thing to note is that the nib is a tiny bit bigger than the Tombow, so it's not as easy to write smaller things or in small spaces, but overall a great pen. These next ones I'm going to categorize under brush pens even though I don't use them as pens. These are the Ohuhu color markers. I got this set of 100. They are water-based, dual-ended markers. Please note that these are not the incredibly popular Ohuhu alcohol-based markers, which would bleed through all paper. No, these are the water-based and they are new to me this year. I'm using them to add color and highlighting to my planner this year. I use them for genre tracking and on my weekly spreads for doodles. One thing I will say is that they will bleed through if you layer coloring. A single layer is completely fine, but any more than that and you are risking the bleed through, so just be a little bit cautious of that if you do use this. These have actually become a replacement for the next pens I'm going to talk about. Because of all of the different colors that are available in the set, I love that there are 100 options to choose from. It makes it really easy to add a bunch of different colors to my planner. Even though this is my first year using them, I have used them a lot so far, all over many aspects of my planner, like you can see here. And so far, I really like them and will continue to use them. I have picked out colors for each month, as well as colors for all of my trackers, and I keep a chart handy with all of the color names and what I use for what, so it's easy to keep track of. I mostly use the brush tip side, but it is nice that there's also a fine liner side as well. These next ones are the pens I was using in my planner to add color in previous years before I found the Ohuhu ones that we just discussed. I've talked about them many times in the past, but these are the Zebra mild liner highlighters, specifically the ones with the brush tip. I still really love these and highly recommend them. They are a great way to add color because they don't bleed through, even layering color. The only downside is they're a little harder to come by and there aren't as many color options, but I still reach for them and will still continue to use them because I'm comfortable and familiar with them. I used them all of last year for my charts and weekly spreads and for all of my doodles, which I will show you an example of. Pretty much all of the color that you can see here are using the mild liners. I would use them to go around my brush lettering to add a pop of color, and I would use them on my calendars to color code, and I would use them on my TBRs and on my weekly spread just to make boxes and to do doodles. I used these all the time. I cannot stress enough how much I really love these, and I will continue to use them in my upcoming planner as well. The next category of pens we're going to be talking about is gel pens and fine liners. These are pens I either use every single day for general writing or pens I keep around for very specific purposes. The first pen that we're going to be talking about is my favorite everyday pen. That is the Pentel Energel In-Free in a 0.5 millimeter. I got these in a set of 10, and while I occasionally use the other colors, I mostly use the black pen. In fact, I just bought a set of black pens so I could stock up on them. This is the pen I use on my weekly spreads for my to-do list or other activities. I also use it on my TBRs and my wrap-ups and in the reviews. It's the pen I consistently come back to. It's smooth and nice to hold. I like the needlepoint tip so I can be more exact if I'm lettering with it. It can be highlighted and it doesn't smear. There's no bleed through. There's nothing crazy special about it, but it's become my perfect everyday pen. This next pen is the Zebra Sarasa Mark-On in a 0.5 millimeter. It's a pen I've recommended before and used for many years. This pen is designed to be used with highlighters. It dries incredibly quickly, so it's great for lefties. I've never had a smear with highlighters before, so if I know I'm going to highlight, I'll reach for this, like on the series tracker page. Besides being made for highlighters, it also makes for a great everyday pen too, because it's smooth and easy to write with. Next is a newer addition to my list. These are the Rytec Ombre Up gel pens. They come in a pack of 6. They are all black ink, but they are some seriously beautiful pens. I am obsessed with the colors on these bodies. Besides that, these are a really dark black ink. They are a little bolder, but they're incredibly smooth to write with. Like, they glide so nicely. One thing of note is that if you write with heavy pressure, these can bleed a little bit, so they're not great for doodling, but they are really nice pens and I do recommend them. Moving on to some colorful gel pen recommendations. This next set are some I recommended before, but I've owned and used them for years and still come back to them anytime I need color. These are the Tool gel pens. I got a pack of 14 off of the American Amazon. They are super smooth and very vibrant. And a fun little tidbit is that I use the yellow pen for all of my star ratings. These are a little bit more inky for gel pens, so they can smear a little bit, but I haven't had that much trouble with them at all. I wouldn't recommend highlighters with them, but overall I really like them. I love the colors, I love how vibrant they are, and definitely recommend them. This set has a 0.7 millimeter tip, so they're a little bit more bold. They are also a little more inky than some of the ones I previously mentioned, so they can smear, but honestly they aren't that bad and I've never had any issues with them. Speaking of yellow pens though, I get asked about that for star rating, so I wanted to share 2 other options. This first one is the Papermate Ink Joy. This is a 0.7 millimeter tip. It is a tiny bit of a lighter yellow, but the Inkjoy pens are a great gel pen in general, so if you're looking for a bolder, colorful set of pens, this is a great option. They're inexpensive, they don't smudge, and they're quite smooth to write with. And as I mentioned, the yellow is great for star ratings. The other yellow pen I recommend is the Uniball 1 pen. This is a 0.38 millimeter tip, so it's very thin and perfect for the smaller star ratings on the reading checklist pages. You can buy these in a set, I think, or individually from somewhere like JetPens. They do come available in a lot of different colors, so there's a ton of options. One thing to note is since the tip is so small, I find the color isn't as vibrant, but they are really great for doodling and they don't bleed through at all. Speaking of a smaller tip, the next gel pen I wanted to mention is this Uniball Sino DX. It comes in a bunch of colors, but I only have the black one. This is one of those pens that I have a very specific purpose for. It has a 0.38 millimeter tip, so it's perfect for very tiny details and lettering. I use this pen on my reading checklist pages or on the wrap-up pages where there's a checkbox. I note the format that I read the book in by writing a P, an E, or an A using this pen. I could probably use something else, but I've come to use this one and I really enjoy how fine it is. Next is a set of fine liners. This set is from Amazon. It is the Yisan, I think I'm saying that right, liner set. It comes with 12 pens of varying thicknesses. I actually just got these earlier this year to test out and have really enjoyed them. I use these for building charts or for some doodling. I like that there's different sizes to choose from. Some of the thicker ones may have a higher chance of bleed through if you have heavy pressure, but the ones that I reach for the most, which are the 03 and 04 sizes, don't have any issues. These are quite smooth and they're very crisp. This next pen is one that I don't reach for much, but I wanted to mention it in case you don't like gel pens. It's actually a ballpoint pen, but it's really smooth. A ballpoint pen is great because they don't smear, so if you're a lefty, it's a great choice. While this is a 0.5mm tip, it does seem much thinner. It's very crisp and great for highlighting though. I frequently use this on my calendars if I'm color coding events with different markers or highlighters. Next up is the fine liner that I used to recommend all of the time, and that is the Le Pen. This is still a great option. It only comes in one thickness, but you can also get it in a variety of different colors if that's what you're interested in. I find that I now personally prefer the other set that I talked about earlier. However, this one is maybe a little bit more economical if you don't need all the other sizes from the other set. It's a great black fine liner, it's smooth, and it's really great for making charts or other templates that you may want to add. Next, we're going to talk about the classic gel pen, and that is the Jelly Roll. There are so many different types and varieties and colors of this gel pen. I find they are really great for accents and doodling and titles on the bookshelf page. They're super inky, so they will smear and you need to let them dry down. This also brings me to the white gel pen question that I'm always asked about. Whenever I share my bookshelf page or even titles I've done in my planner that have white accents, I'm asked about it. This is the pen that I use. It is the Jelly Roll. I specifically use the 08 size. This pen can be a little bit finicky, but it's the most vibrant white gel pen that I've found, and it's my personal preference to use on the bookshelf page. I find that less pressure and going slow and kind of just gliding the pen along the letter forms helps the best. I have used the 10 size before, but I don't like it as much as the 08. This is an example of the bookshelf page with the white titles using the 08 size. And then here is an example of some white accents on a title I did on my TBR, just to show another example of how I use the white gel pen in my planner. Now I wanted to move on to some other supplies I use in my planner. These aren't necessarily specific recommendations, but other things that I use in my planner, starting with a mechanical pencil. This is a must, in my opinion. If I'm drawing layouts or want to get the layout of a quote right, I always start out with a pencil. And that leads me into my favorite erasers. These are the Tombow Mono erasers. I got these in a set of 3 years ago, and I'm still using my first one. Highly recommend. That next up is a ruler. I have this 6-inch clear ruler that I use all the time, and I also have this gold ruler that has little cutouts that I use for my check boxes on my weekly spreads. Next, and this is a really quick one because it's new to me, but this is a Canyon Ivy mini printer. I just got this, so it's very new to me, but I'm really excited to start using it to print out book covers and other pictures. The next thing I wanted to mention is the snap-in bookmarks. These have been a game changer for me in my planner. I use them in multiple places in my planner to keep track of locations that I'm frequently going to, like my weekly spread or my daily trackers that I update every single day. It's just nice to have a place to easily reference. The other thing I frequently use is my snap-in folder. It holds my mini icon stickers, so every time I finish a book, they're just easily accessible and right there attached in the back of my planner. And speaking of stickers, I would be remiss if I did not mention that I am always using these sticker pads in my planner. I use all 4 all the time, but they have literally become an essential to my planning. I love all of them and use all of them, and of course, I highly recommend all of them. But stickers in general are a great addition to any planner. Similarly, I would also love using washi tape in my planner. You could use any washi tape. I'm obviously using my own branded washi tape, but I do have others that I use in my planner as well. I love adding these for some accents, or if there's like always an awkward space that I don't know what to do with, washi tape is always my go-to. There's so many different options and styles and sizes. It's just a really fun way to add something unique to your planner. I have a whole bunch of different ones that I have different themes around, like reading or seasons, and these are some examples of how I use them in my planner. I use them on calendar pages. I use them on my weekly spreads as like little backdrops to stickers, and I also use them sometimes just for like decorative purposes, like on my reading wrap up. If I didn't use the full space, I'll do like a little design like I did here. And finally, the last supply I want to talk about is the Prismacolor Premier colored pencils. These are my all-time favorite colored pencils. I've talked about these in every video I've ever done, and I won't stop. As you can tell, they're very well used. I've had this set for probably 6 or 7 years now, and they're still going strong. I absolutely love them. They are buttery smooth, they blend so well, and they're incredibly vibrant to color with. Anytime you see me coloring something in my planner, most likely the bookshelf page, which I will show you an example of, I'm using these colored pencils, and I don't think you could go wrong with this set. You can get them frequently on sale or using a coupon at Michael's or something, but I highly, highly, highly recommend these colored pencils if you want to color in your planner. So that's all the supplies I'm going to talk about in today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching and got some good recommendations. I would love to hear if you have recommendations. I'm always looking to try new pens and supplies, so please let me know in the comments if you have any. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.